from the vaccine. I'm not wanting to be melodramatic. There may not be a lot of children die, but there will be children who will die who wouldn't have done because we have rolled the vaccine out, because some adults think this is okay. And these are adults, the adults clamouring for this, they've all had their vaccination. So why do they need this?
Does it also go against the sacred Hippocratic oath that a physician will make to the patient, which is first, do no harm?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And beyond that, it also breaks international law. It's not just about the Hippocratic oath. Under international law, we have an obligation to get properly informed consent for any medical procedure. And we're not doing that. We've seen educational materials in schools where they are showing pictures of a child with tetanus, smallpox, and one in calipers with polio. And then the very next slide is, so when can I have my vaccine? So they're equating COVID-19, which for children is like either no symptoms or maybe a snotty nose or a slight temperature, with having polio. I mean, it's not the same disease at all. So that is very misleading. They just keep repeating, it's safe, it's safe, it's safe, with no evidence. These are novel technology and they have no long-term data for adults. So for older adults, you may weigh up your balance of risk and think, well, okay, I'm at risk of COVID, I'm shielding this, I'd like to have this vaccine. You can make that decision for yourself. It's your choice. But a child can't make that decision. So are parents going to make that decision for them and put their children at risk for this? I hope they're not.
And it's not the job of children to be foot soldiers in the battle against this virus, is it, Ros? And we seem to be overlooking the fact that children have a very robust immune system, and perhaps it's not the end of the world for them to naturally catch COVID and recover from it.
Yes. Again, I think the assumption is that if you don't get vaccinated, you're going to permanently be at risk of getting COVID and transmitting it. But of course you're not. You're only going to, until you've had it, and probably half the children have already had it. They will have much better, more robust immunity from natural infection than from a vaccine. That will always be true. All vaccines do is they try to copy your natural immune system. They are to a very narrow spike protein, whereas your natural immunity will be to the whole virus. So it'll be better against variants. It'll involve, your IgA, which is on your lining of your nose and throat, might even fight this off before it even gets into your bloodstream. All of that is true for children. There was an article in the BMJ only a couple of weeks ago pointing out that, the argument keeps being used about variants and saying everybody who's unvaccinated is risking the whole population because there'll be a sump for sort of variant resistance to vaccines. But of course, actually, it's the people who are vaccinated, that's where you'll get vaccine resistant. So to have some young, healthy people and children who are happily getting COVID as if it was any old coronavirus and topping up their immunity and passing it back to the adults they meet will just keep the natural immunity of the whole population up. And in terms of herd immunity, we are already well past the level that was set for that anyway. Something like 98% of over 60s have got antibodies, either from vaccination or from prior infection.
Ros, thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Ros Jones is a retired consultant paediatrician who is not having vaccines for 12 to 15